Hey guys, what's going on? This is Travis P11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. And today we're going to do a little cleanup of the Browning high power 9mm semi-automatic handgun. This pistol is on loan to us from Stan, the owner of SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska. Guys, I want you to give Stan a call. They're just off the exit at Interstate 80 in Lexington, Nebraska, and they will take care of your firearms needs, and the contact information is right here in the video. Browning high power, it's a very easy pistol to disassemble and to clean. In fact, it's got a few little options on it that I wish more handguns had that would make it even easier for disassembly. But anyway, before we get into that, just some basic supplies you're going to need for this cleanup. You can use your favorite gun cleaner. I like to use just break-free CLP made by Safariland. You can use Ballistol if you want to, or Rem oil, whatever works best for you. Just an old toothbrush is nice to have. The nylon bristles are nice for scrubbing around. They won't scratch the finish. You don't have to worry about it. I just use a one-piece pistol cleaning rod, or you could just use a multi-segmented cleaning rod if you have one, or even a bore snake for that matter, but this just makes it easy to get the cotton patches through your barrel. Some cotton squares. Now these are pre-cut. You can buy these at your sporting goods section, at most of your Walmarts or department stores, or your favorite firearm store, firearms dealer, etc. You can use some pre-cut cotton patches if you want to. And then also I've got some bristles that are made for 9mm. This is a soft brass bristle brush and a nylon bristle brush, and this makes scrubbing out that barrel a piece of cake. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and ensure that the firearm is in fact unloaded. So go ahead and detach the magazine by pressing the magazine release button. Magazine comes right out, magazine is empty. Go ahead and grab the back here where the serrations are and pull back and look down the chamber. Let's inspect it, make sure that it is empty, and it is. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our next step. Okay, so now this next part is not absolutely necessary, but it makes it kind of nice to do. So sometimes you get some lead buildup on the top of your magazines, and we'll go ahead and just wipe these off. I'm thinking these magazines are just a brushed aluminum or maybe a brushed stainless, I'm not sure. Just go ahead and wipe them off all the way around. You don't want to get a lot of residue on these. We're going to try to keep the gun oil off the ammunition. This is kind of more of a preventative for corrosion and things like that. And also to take off any kind of buildup that you might get if these magazines have seen a lot of use. Now, I don't know how many times this pistol's been fired, but when we take it apart, we'll get a good idea just taking a look at the wear and tear. If it's been heavily used or not, we'll take a look down the barrel. You can disassemble these magazines if you want to. That would be a separate video, which we're not going to cover here, but if you want to, you can certainly do that. Okay, wipe them off. Magazines are clean. Okay, so disassembly of this, it's just a little bit short of ingenious actually. So you can tell the hammer's cocked back right now. You do have this little safety lever right here. There's a notch, okay, that your safety goes up into. Well, there's a second notch right here. This is going to be the notch that we're going to use to lock the slide back in order to disassemble the pistol. So you can, if you do this, you can just grasp it by the front if you want to and pull back until you're able to put the safety notch in and go ahead and notch that in place. So you can see how that sits in there. Let's get that in focus for you guys. There we go. Now, the next thing you need to do is you're going to want to press on this little button back here on the other side, and this is going to allow you to take out your disassembly lever. Real simple, but before you take it out, you do have to press up on it. So I'm going to press up on the lever and push on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, whatever angle you're watching it from, and that little lever is going to come right out. Okay. Okay, at that point, let's just go ahead and wipe off the safety lever with some cleaner. Again, you don't want to put a lot of oil on these firearms because that'll tend to attract a lot of dust and just crud in general. But just a protective coat, just something if the gun's going to sit for a while or if you daily carry it, it's going to prevent it from any kind of corrosion, okay? Okay, so that's cleaned off. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next step. Okay, so the camera angles make it kind of tough to do, but it's really simple. What we're going to do is we're just going to pull back on the slide until it locks. We're going to push down on the slide lever and then slowly release the slide, and it'll just come right off the lower frame. So go ahead and push up until it locks. Push down on the lever and let go. Just push forward, it slides right off. Okay, so with this pistol having a stainless steel finish, it's a little hard to see wear and tear compared to parts that might be painted or coated. I see very little wear on the back of the hammer. The ejector here has very little wear, if at all. It doesn't look like this pistol's had a lot of rounds put through it. It's a little dirty inside down here. I noticed the trigger's a little bit gritty. So the first thing you would do is just go ahead and put a little CLP on a patch and just go ahead and start wiping everything out. Okay, we're just going to go through and get the parts that we can actually reach ourselves. Just get in there and give it a good scrub. You can do this a couple times if you want to. Sometimes it'll take 2 or 3 patches. It really does depend on the gun. This is really, again, not that dirty. You can eventually wipe off the whole outside if you want to with some CLP and then just take another patch to it and wipe off the excess. No problems whatsoever. Get in there and really scrub in there. Get your fingernail in there too where these rails are and scrub that out. You can get some buildup in there also, and also towards the rear. And also, these are the parts that you want to make sure that you've got lubricant on too when we reassemble. It's always the sliding surfaces that need the cleaner. There are some sharp edges on this, so be kind of careful and go go ahead and just kind of get in there and start to scrub out the pistol grip. Now, inside the pistol grip, believe it or not, you can actually get a lot of buildup in there, especially for somebody who daily carries. There's a lot of lint and stuff that can build up in here, or dirt, especially if you do a lot of range time. All depends on your environment. Go ahead and take your one-piece cleaning rod, just get up in there and scrub it all out. There's just a little bit of CLP on a patch in there. You can take another dry patch through this if you want to. Once you give this gun a nice good clean, the next time that you take it out to the range and clean it, it'll be that much easier. So just go ahead and scrub it out a little bit, and we'll kind of take a look at this and see how it looks. Okay. Not too bad, a little bit of oxidation on there, but not too bad at all. Okay, so we got that all taken care of. Okay, let's just go ahead and scrub it a little bit. Okay, let's move on to our next step. Okay, so down in here, there's a bunch of springs for the trigger group. Just go ahead and put a little CLP on a Q-tip and just give it a gentle wipe. We're not gonna coat everything, but just get in there and make sure everything has just a little bit of oil on it. Take that same Q-tip and put a little bit of oil on the rails, all the surfaces, in the crevices, up on the top, and so on. There we go. That'll really get the crud out of there, so, okay. Also make sure you guys clean out the little disassembly hole right here too. You can sometimes get a buildup in there also. Pretty much any metal surface can get carbon deposits on it if you take the firearm to the range and shoot it, or just have to use it or whatnot. So make sure we wipe off the extractor. Good. Okay, that's all taken care of. Let's go ahead and move on to the slide. Okay, so I wouldn't say that there's a lot of spring tension, but this is not a captive guide rod recoil spring system, which means when you pull this out, there's a potential for the spring to fly off the end. And you can see how there's a hole in the way that all the notches line up and stuff. We need to make sure that we reassemble this way when we put it back together, and we'll be very careful about that. I would say this little flat section right here, you want to make sure that it also matches the flat section, the underlug of the barrel right here. And you can almost see like a little notch right there. It's almost like a little ball bearing, which helps ensure that the takedown lever doesn't fly out. So anyway, just go ahead and give it a little forward pressure and just pull back, and your spring and guide rod will come right out. And you can pull that off if you want to. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a wipe off. Again, a little bit of CLP. People make a lot of comments in my videos and they say, oh man, your gun's just dripping with oil. You know, you use way too much oil in that firearm. I do go over it with a dry patch and wipe off the excess. I just don't make you watch me do that on camera. So that's something I should probably get across to you. So, you know, yeah, you just want a protective coat, but you don't want the thing just dripping in oil. Like, you could just wipe this off if you want to. I'm going to be taking this to the range, so I want all the parts nice and lubricated, and I'm going to be shooting indoors. So it's really not a big deal to me, but I will give the gun another cleaning as soon as we come back from the range. Okay, we'll go ahead and set that off to the side. Your barrel is just basically going to come right out. At this point, you can go ahead and just wipe off the outside of the barrel. Okay, make sure you get all the little notches, all the little crevices. You can start to get some buildup, especially on the top of the barrel, right here where the chamber is, and then also the little feed ramps can really start to get a buildup too. Feel free to scrub it off with the toothbrush if you want to. If you notice a lot of carbon that's not coming off. The barrel has really good rifling in it also. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's in really good shape. Again, I don't think this firearm's had a lot of rounds put down range through it. And so what we're gonna do is go ahead and let that marinate for a while. We're gonna shoot a little bit of CLP down the barrel and let that run all the way down to the bottom. Just go ahead and spray some in there. Just set it upright, or just let it go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so while that is doing its thing, we're gonna go ahead and just wipe out the inside of the slide. Now this part's pretty dirty. There's a lot of buildup in here, but it also may be a little bit unfinished in terms of the stainless steel finish on this thing. Yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of scuffing and scratches and stuff. Oh yeah, it's got a ton of carbon buildup in it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take a lot of patches to this, and we're gonna use some brushes on it. So we're just gonna go to town, wiping everything off as much as we can, getting every surface we possibly can clean. Oh boy. All right, and we'll be back in a few minutes. You do the same, just go ahead and wipe everything out inside with patches, and we'll come right back. Okay, so what I thought was powder residue is actually just kind of the rough finish of the metal inside the stainless. I did scrub it really good. Something else you want to do is put a little bit of CLP on a Q-tip and run down these channels here that the rails ride on. You can be surprised with how much of a buildup you can actually get down in there. I just do one on each side basically. And you can leave it as is, or you can run one more Q-tip down it with some oil if you want to. I'm not going to because I got plenty of oil on the rails. Another part that gets really dirty is where your striker comes out right down here at the rear. You don't want to get any particles in there, so I usually just wipe it off with a patch of some CLP. You could hit it with a little bit of a brush if you want to. That part can get really dirty, especially around the part where your extractor is right here. So you want to watch out for that when you're using it. But for the most part, I'd say we're pretty good. So let's go ahead and move on to the barrel. Okay, so at this point, if you got yourself a bore snake, you know, you can run it through a couple times if you want to. If you've got a traditional cleaning rod, you just screw your cleaning brush on the end of it. And for me, I'm just going to use this one. I'm just going to go through a couple times and scrub it a little bit. This does reach the end of the barrel. You do technically want to go through in single passes, but for a brush like this that has real soft bristles, it's not doing any damage, so you don't have to worry about that. And then go ahead and run the nylon brush down it a couple times. There we go. Okay, then just go ahead and run your patch with a little bit of CLP with your cleaning rod down the barrel. Let's go ahead and push through there. And you can see how much residue comes out. So you can do this a couple times if you want to until the patches come out clean, and at that point you know you're done. Sometimes I will just run one more patch down the barrel just to make sure there's not a lot of oil residue in the barrel. Again, you just need a protective coating like I said before. And when we're all done, we'll wipe off all the excess oil from this firearm. Okay, so there you go. Okay, I'll take a look at the barrel. I don't know if you can see it, but the barrel is very clean right now. It's nice and shiny inside. The bore's nice and shiny. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put that off to the side. So now at this point, we are ready for reassembly. Okay, so for reassembly, it's going to be pretty simple. You're just going to take your barrel and you're just going to drop it back in like you see here. Now you'll probably be working this way, but I'm just showing you off to the side what you're going to do. And now for this recoil spring, you want to make sure that this flat section right here, this little rectangular section, it's a little hard to see there. There you go, is facing up this way, or towards the bottom of the frame, I guess you could say, or the frame of the handgun. So go ahead and put that recoil spring in there. And then you've got a little channel right here, a little rounded channel that guide rod is going to fit into. So just go ahead and press forward on it. Takes a little bit of tension, but not much. Lock into place. It will lock into place and make a nice circle right there that your takedown pin is going to go into. So if you did it properly, flat surfaces should match up. You're all set to go. Okay, now we'll go ahead and put the slide back on the frame. So this could be the part that maybe is trickiest for somebody who might be a first-time gun owner, if this is your first pistol and so on. We do have some lubrication on the rails, so that's all set to go. We have a little bit of lubrication back on the ejector. That's all set to go too. So we're going to do essentially what we did before. So let's go ahead and put the slide back on the frame. Now what we want to do is we're going to push back on it so that this little notch right here gets locked in place by the safety lever. Okay, so just go ahead and pull back. Push up on the safety lever so it locks into place. It should look like that if you got it right. There we go. Okay. And then what we want to do is just go ahead and take your takedown assembly, and it should just go right through the hole with no problems. Push down on it, and just make sure that your little lever gets pushed back in. So it should be spring actuated. It should go back down if you have it in place properly. Okay. It's just going to snap right in there. And then you can go ahead and just grip the pistol and go ahead and grab the back of the slide and release. Oh, sorry. We're going to do it like this so you guys can see it. You're going to push down on that safety lever right there and then release. All set to go. Now this pistol will not fire without a magazine in the magazine well. It does have a magazine safety release, I guess you could say. So we'll check it again. It is empty. Okay, we'll go ahead and just put an empty magazine in the pistol and just do a single dry fire. Make sure it functions. Make sure it locks open, and it does. Okay. There we go. Let go. One more dry fire. Done. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and take a patch that has a little bit of CLP on it just to wipe off the whole pistol. And then we're going to go over it with a dry patch just to take off any excess oil because it's very oily right now. Get that all taken care of, and then we're going to take it to the range and have some fun with it. So the range test for this pistol should be up about a week after you guys see the premiere of this cleaning video, and we should be all set to go. It really does clean up nice. It's got a beautiful finish to it. And the Browning high powers are very hard to beat. Makes a great first pistol if you don't have one, or if you don't have one, you better add one to the collection. So let's go ahead and get this dried off. We'll just say a few final words. Okay, and one last time, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you check out the channel, like and subscribe, and a special thank you again to Stan at SS Pond in Lexington, Nebraska. Again, contact information is down below in this video. Go ahead and give SS Pond a call, and they will take care of your firearms needs. But in the meantime, everybody, I want you all to have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care and have a great week. Bye-bye.